Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this week's Sunday Reset. And for this one, I'm just going to kind of talk. I have some notes that I took. This is actually stuff from my journal that I pulled that seems relevant. Hopefully, it resonates. Immediately, the first thing that came up when I sat down to start writing this journal entry was starting is always the hard part. Everyone knows that intimidation of a blank page, blank canvas, just that wide open possibility of anything could happen, and the weight of knowing that you're the one who has to make it happen. And I touched on this in What I Dreamt episode with Salamander Dragon, and all about my own struggle with embracing my potential. But this is probably one of the most common human experiences that anyone could have, is that discomfort, fear, or anxiety around what you could be capable of if you just started. I have a tendency to go through things in my mind and then basically never follow through on them, because this is a thing that happens where you get like the reward of doing the thing just from imagining that you did it. And what happens is, if you don't have enough follow through, you don't have motivation, or you don't have the push to keep going and actually pursue it, you can find enough satisfaction in just imagining that you did it. And that often happens for me, especially when I'm trying to do something that I've never done before, or something that I don't feel like I'm good at. And in the moments that I do push through and make the attempt, I'm always disappointed a little bit with the gap between how I imagined it would be and what actually came out of my attempt. And the thing is, that's where all of those people who are incredible at what they do, that's where they came from. They were brave enough to face that gap, and they were strong enough to put aside the shame of that gap between what they dream of and what they are currently capable of. And they push through it, and they get to the other side of it, and that's how they reach the level that they dreamed of. But what happens with a lot of people, myself included, is they're standing at the edge of that gap, and to them, me, it seems like it's too big to cross. I'm never going to get there. That's impossible. It's never going to happen. It would be like asking someone to jump across an ocean. Like, that's not possible. I think a lot of that is tied up in my perfectionist tendencies, and those perfectionist tendencies came from other people. Something that comes up a lot for me when it comes to interacting with other people in the relationships that I have with other people is that Some things come easily to me, and some things are just naturally effortless for me. And I'm not saying that as a brag, because everyone has something that they just naturally flow with, and they can step into it and do it and make it look like nothing. But because I have that, people who are less secure in their own abilities, or who maybe are just as harshly critical of their own selves, have a tendency to see that and basically elevate me and put me on this pedestal. And when that happens with someone who's insecure, they put you on the pedestal so that they can, and then they watch you and they wait, and they're like chomping at the bit for an opportunity to tear you down off that pedestal. They want you to fall. They put you up there so they could knock you down. And for me, that is where all the pressure to be good at things comes from. It comes from that knowing that there are people who want to see me embarrass myself, and they want me to not be good at something. And I don't want to give them the satisfaction, because I'm stubborn and I'm human, I'm petty at times. I can be. And of course, there is that ego and the pride of saying, I'm not going to let you see me slip because you want to see it so badly. I will do everything in my power to make sure you never get what you want. That is the ego, and that is me holding myself back. It's very much keeping me stuck in a place where I run up to this gap and I stop myself and I turn around and I go back, because I'm not going to make the leap, because I know I can't make that leap. And I don't want anybody to see me fail at making that leap, because they would be so happy to see it. And I would, everything in me says, I'll never do it. I would never want to give someone satisfaction. But that is me giving away my power. That is me letting somebody else drive my boat. Why would I want to do that? Why do I need to do that? Because if I let myself try and I fail and I make a mess and I embarrass myself and eventually make my way to the other side, where I am actually absolutely incredible at whatever it is that I attempt to do, they're not going to get the reward. I am. So why am I so worried about what they think? About what I had to go through to get there? Why does it matter? This is for me. And that's where I have work to do. And I need to focus on letting things be for me and not care so much about, and not give away so much of my power. And of course, there's the let them theory. Let them talk, let them laugh, let them feel like they're better than you, let them think, oh, it's so embarrassing. If that's the empty victory that they need to have in order to look at themselves in the mirror every day and to continue to live the life that they're living, let them have that. They need it. Like, if that's the thing that they're seeking out, instead of where I am, where I'm trying to improve and learn something new and create more, that's their world focus, and that's their little thing that they feel is what's most important. Let them have that. Let them have that, and you go get more. You go get better. You get the thing that actually is going to mean something at the end of all of this. Obviously, that's easier said than done. It's, again, I'm not speaking over anyone's life but my own here when I say it's worth it and it's something that I have to do. So, wherever you are on your journey, if there is something that you really want to do but you don't think you're good at it, do it anyway. Dance even if you're embarrassing. Sing even though, some of your notes are flat and, your voice is cracking. Paint, even if, it looks like a child did it with their toes. Whatever that thing is, do it. The call is there because there's something within the achievement. It's not even necessarily that, you're going to be the next greatest painter or the next professional choreographer that everyone's going to be seeking out. It's not about that. There's something in the journey along all of that failure and the humility that has to come along with learning something new. That's what you need. That's the thing that's important here. It's the journey, I hate to say that, but it's so cliche, but you need this journey. You need the effort, you need the failure, you need, like I said, that humility. You need to release that ego. There's something in that for you. So even if you might not be great at it, and you may never be great at it, do it anyway. Make whatever it is that you are being called to do about you, for you. Forget everybody else. Ignore, put the blinders on and just say, those people don't matter. They don't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Again, I'm speaking to myself more than anyone else here. It doesn't matter what those people think. If they do see you embarrass yourself, good. Then they'll be well fed for when whatever happens on the other side of it. And you grow and blossom and you turn into just the best, most radiant version of yourself because of all the work that you did. Again, whether you become a master of it or not, that journey is going to elevate you. That's for you. Let them have their little laugh. I think that's it. This is kind of a longer Sunday reset. I got on a little tangent, taking y'all to church on a Sunday. Hopefully something in that resonated with you. I'm probably gonna have a whole revelation when I watch this back to edit. But thank you so much for sitting with me through it. And I hope that you have a good rest of your week and that you are well. Be selfish. Do it for you.